Alright, what is up everybody? My name's Jesse. Some of my friends call me J-Swag. And I got a little One Piece chapter review here for you guys. Going to be going over chapter 1082. Let's go claim it. Claim this guy's treasure right here. That's what they talking about. So, this is my first YouTube video. I kind of just wanted to put my brainwaves out into the world. I just got caught back up on One Piece. I was like 5 chapters behind, and the latest chapters are just insane. Like, it feels like I'm watching Avengers Endgame of manga right now. Like, all the different groups of characters that are like kind of doing their own thing, but everything is like interweaving together to make like such a good plot. And I just like I have so many theories. Like, all I do is talk about this stuff with my friends. So like I just kind of want to put my brainwaves out into the air, and hopefully somebody can get some enjoyment out of it. So we're starting with we have Sengoku and Sru. They're just chilling at Navy HQ, and they're like drinking tea, eating their crackers, you know how they do. But they're talking about how Vice Admiral T-Bone got killed because of Cross Guild's new little bounty system they have worked up. So this is like very, I love this plot thread because I feel like it's going to cause mass anarchy within the story for the Marines, because they're talking about how can they protect civilians and watch their backs at the same time, and that's totally true. Like, you can't. So I like them. How are the Marines going to be effective in like civilian kingdoms? Like, I feel like they're not going to be able to do it anymore, and I feel like this is going to compound with some stuff that I'm going to be talking about in a later chapter review about maybe some kingdoms revolting. I don't know, but this could play into that a lot. And so they're talking about that, and then Hina kind of like swings by the room. Hina is like, I believe she's in Sword, but she's like, she was at that round table when Garp and all those other Marines back in, God, oh my gosh, it was chapter like, we were still in Wano, it was chapter 900 something, when they were talking about Rocks, and like this was like Rox's, like, I don't know if it was his first mention, but it was like the main mention where like we got the panel with the crew and everything. She was one of the Marines there, but she just swings by, and Sengoku sees her, and she's like, oh, he's like, oh, where's Garp? I want to show him this new cracker flavor I found. And Hina just kind of does a light little expo dump. She's like, oh, Garp and Sword went to the pirate island to rescue Kobe. And obviously, Sengoku and Sru freak out, and they're like, oh, wow, well, like, what? I mean, how can you be surprised? Typical Garp. Like, what did you expect was going to happen? But this is more that, like, endgame kind of, like grouping of characters, because now I feel like Sru and Sengoku are going to be going to the pirate island where Garp and Kobe are, and are we going to get a big Marine showdown with the Blackbeard pirates and the Marines? Like, what are the implications of all this? Because, I mean, if we get a huge fight with Marines and the Blackbeard pirates, like, come on. I mean, Sengoku and Garp going, like, head-to-head against Blackbeard with Sru. We don't know how powerful Sru is, but, I mean, like, come on. She has to have at least, like, some decent hockey or something. So, after that, we cut to Empty Bluffs Island with the Cross Guild, and we meet the old man who killed T-Bone. And it's kind of just like a sad little series of events, because this guy literally just killed T-Bone to get money for his poverty-stricken family so they could eat. And, I mean, this isn't really anything. It's kind of just explaining the situation. But one of Buggy's crewmates comes over to tell him that the ship they had commissioned or whatever is finished. So Buggy goes out to check on it, and the figurehead is just a giant Buggy the Clown figurehead. So we get this nice panel of Buggy, like, crying and freaking out, and then we have another panel of him crying and freaking out with, like, dark silhouettes of Croc and Mihawk behind him. So this leads into him getting, like, Game of Thrones-esque tortured by Mihawk and Crocodile. And they're kind of sitting at the table with him in the background, like, hung up. And they're scheming about, like, how they need more influence and more power, and how the government is kind of, like, taking notice to them, and how that might not be what they want right now, and they kind of want to like lay low. And Buggy's demoralized and he's like downbeat, but he's kind of invigorated, which I'll talk about a little like 3 minutes from now. But he's like, we need to not be lurking in the shadows. We need to go for the big prize. And he's talking about the One Piece. He wants them to go for the One Piece, and he's talking about how Shanks is going for the One Piece and how he asks Crocodile and Mihawk what they wanted when they first became pirates, which leads into a flashback of like Buggy and Shanks in Logtown, like right after Roger's executed, and Buggy's like trying to tell Shanks that like he should go for the One Piece, and Shanks is not wanting to go. And Buggy is obviously like, what the hell, like, why do you want to go? And Shanks is like, well, let's just be pirates together, like, join my pirate crew and we can be pirates. And Buggy's like, hell no, like, I remember that treasure map, like, I'll never forgive you. Like, Buggy's little, him being mad at Shanks, his little personality trait he has. But Buggy loves Shanks, we know. But why doesn't Shanks go for the One Piece here in this flashback? It kind of, like, confuses me a little bit. It's like, what does Shanks know? Because obviously when Roger went for the One Piece, it wasn't time for him to get it yet. People think because all the weapons weren't ready, and like obviously Shirahoshi's one of the weapons, so people think like she wasn't born yet, so it wasn't possible to maybe not claim the One Piece, but do what the goal of the D clan is, which is probably to overthrow the world government and make everyone free. So, Shanks not going for the One Piece here, what does he know? Did Roger tell him that, like, what was at Laugh Tale? Does Shanks know does Shanks know about the weapons? Not current Shanks, I'm talking about, like, whatever old Shanks, I think he's 12 years old here. This is, what, 26 years ago, I believe? So I think he's 12 years old. Like, what does Shanks know here? Because we know God Valley's 38 years ago, and we know Shanks is 37 pre-time skip, so that would make him 39 post-time skip. So that makes him 1 year old at God Valley, and Roger picked him up at God Valley. So he's 1 year old. He doesn't remember anything of possibly him being a Celestial Dragon, him being at God Valley. He doesn't remember any of that. So why isn't he going for the One Piece? And then another question on top of that is, how does he come in contact with the Gorosei and the Celestial Dragons? Because he shows up at the Reverie, and he's obviously on maybe not good terms, but at least terms with the Gorosei. Like they don't throw him in jail when he shows up. So it's like, from the time Roger died to the current time, what's the storyline there to where Shanks has any relation with the Gorosei and meets them at all? I don't understand, because he's a Celestial Dragon as a kid, possibly. Only 1 year, though. And then he's a pirate for the rest of his life. So, even if the Gorosei kept tabs on him, like, I don't know why he would, unless he's using them, why he would come into contact with them, which is all, it could be totally possible that Shanks is a master manipulator. He's playing Emu, he's playing the Gorosei, he's playing the world government. It's totally possible. This man, he could be a genius. We don't know. But my point is, how does that all play out? And are we going to get to see how that plays out? Because that could make a sick flashback chapter. I'm thinking of like Naruto, like the Itachi flashbacks, like at the end of Naruto. We get the Shanks flashbacks at the end of One Piece. People say this series is going to be like 5 to 8 more years. Dude, I'm thinking it's like 10 to 12 more years. Like, there's a lot of story left to tell in this, and I think we're like just getting to scratching the surface of the end game. But anyway, we come back to present, and Buggy states that him and Shanks are on the same playing field again. It's been however long it's been since that day when Roger died. But now somehow they're both Emperors of the Sea, and they both have an equal shot at the One Piece. So Buggy's like, screw it, man. I want to be king. And Mihawk and Crocodile obviously aren't having none of that. They're like, we're not carrying you to the top. Come on now, you're not getting that. But despite that, Buggy like takes his mic and he says he's like, I'm gonna light a fire in the hearts of our men, and he announces that they're going to go for the One Piece, and we get like the sick, like, I love these panels because we never get to see like Mihawk or Crocodile like stressed out, or like it's almost like a cringe face they do, but I love how we get to see this stuff because Buggy brings this kind of goofiness out of people, and it's just it's amazing to see. So he just announced to the whole crew that they're gonna go for the One Piece, and they're all hyped. It's like a party, and I mean it's always like a party with Buggy's crew, but now they're popping bottles. It's about to be crazy. So I'm excited to see where that goes. But now we're getting into it. We cut to Kamabaka Queendom, and we meet the vice captains of the Revolutionary Army. We met the captains, the ones who assaulted the Reverie, obviously, and these are, I'm guessing, like just their directly unders. So these guys are probably pretty strong. I don't know. I don't know how strong the commanders are. I think the commanders are pretty strong. At least I'm not sure what his name is. I'm blanking. At least the Raven guy and Sabo. I know. Well, Sabo's not a commander, but Sabo's insanely strong, and that Raven guy is definitely strong. So these guys are probably like, I would say, scaling to like recent stuff we've seen, I would say they're probably like at least maybe a little less than Toby Roppo level. And like the actual commanders are like Toby Roppo and Yonko commander level. And so we see them. There's not really much to them. There's a sick chick with like a mechanic arm. There's like a giraffe looking one. There's actually one who has like what looks to be like the Germa earmuffs, and he kind of has like the slick back hair that Youngji does. He kind of just like gave me pause for a second. I don't think he's actually a part of Germa or anything. But we get Sabo coming back, and he's with some of the Lulacia Kingdom people who got murked by Emu with that like heavenly bullet coming down. And so we get him meeting with Ivankov and Dragon, and this is why I wanted to start making YouTube videos of this, because we're into the big stuff with One Piece now. If you guys know what's coming in the next 3 chapters, I mean, this stuff is getting crazy. We're getting more exposition than we've ever gotten, along with more questions to ask than we've ever gotten before. So it's just a great time to be a One Piece fan. If you guys stuck till the end of this review, I really appreciate it. This is my first video. Hopefully you guys give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more. I'm thinking about doing maybe definitely some One Punch Man reviews, because One Punch Man manga is like cooking right now, and the webcomic just came back after like a 2-year hiatus, and we've gotten 3 chapters in a row, and I mean that story's picking up a lot too, and I'm really excited where that's going. And so yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Berserk's coming out too. I'm a chapter behind there, but I mean the latest chapter before that was great, and I want to check those out, maybe review some of those. So hopefully you guys want to see some of that stuff, and thanks for watching.